Ooh, hello family. I'm reporting to you live from Bird King. I'm your friendly neighborhood Slate Nut, Jason, Neffy McQuillan. Uh, Thank y'all for stopping by and checking this video out. I've had several handfuls of people asking me to do a video uh, uh, talking about my relationship and my feelings about my friend Greg Jacobs, aka Shock G, Rackadelic, MC Blowfish, Computer Woman, Humpty Hump, go on and on. Piano Man. I'm here at Burger King today to fulfill the wish of my friends to make this video. It's gonna be a little long-winded because usually when I tell people the story, I get easily sidetracked. I'm neurodivergent, I guess they call it. So I get sidetracked easily, and it's a pretty long story. And this goes out to all my friends who asked to explain my relationship with Shock G, and specifically his family, specifically his mom Shirley and his brother Kent. I love you all very much. And this goes out to his dad Edward and sister Elizabeth as well. A little background of who I am. Started out with I'm Jason McQuillan. I've been involved in music well more than half my life. Started DJing when I was 15, back in '92. Yeah, influenced by Shock from the beginning. Started out as a DJ, became MC, moved on to percussion, harmonica, guitar. The past 15 years, 16 years, I've been touring and recording as Slate Dump one-man band. As a songwriter, I employed different characters in my songs to tell stories from different perspectives. A lot of that came from Shock too. I'm gonna probably jump back and forth a lot, but I'm gonna try to be as linear as possible. I made myself a tiny little bit of notes so I could be as linear and tell the story as best I could. For 32 years, Shock G was in my life in some way or another. It's huge ways and maybe seemed insignificant ways to other people. And in many ways, my story is going to be the same story that you heard from all the people at his funeral. You know, and anybody who tell you stories about Greg, you probably hear the same things. I'll just start off with saying he's a genius. He was more than just someone who catapulted another MC to fame, or just a person who created one character. He uplifted every musician he come across. He never had anything bad to say about any other musicians. He uplifted everybody, number one. And number two, he didn't just create Humpty. He created at least 30 characters that I'm aware of. And I know there's more. I know there's many that he wanted to work on and didn't get to completely flush out. His mind was the most beautiful mind I'd ever met in my life. I've been lucky to tour all over America with some of the biggest names in the world, from South America, Europe, Asia. And out of the hundreds, of musicians and artists I've worked with, I could only say maybe 2 or 3 were really genius level, because the word genius gets thrown around a lot and don't have much meaning anymore. But Greg Jacobs was a genius. And the loss to hip-hop can't be calculated. The loss to American music cannot be calculated. The loss of just a good human being who's just full of creativity and full of joy and that loss, yeah, there's just no way you can quantify it. So who I am. Okay, I've established I've been a musician half my life. I'm also I've resigned as a counselor due to my disabilities. I worked in the behavioral field for 10 years. I worked in crisis counseling. I worked in adolescent substance abuse. I worked in level 3 and level 4 lockdown facilities for juveniles. I also worked with adults with developmental disabilities. I did that for 10 years. All the while on the back, I had music as my passion, but it wasn't in the forefront. I was a counselor, first and foremost. Let's see a little bit more about who I am. Well, I guess that hits it on a nutshell. Counselor and musician is what I've done most of my life. Let's see. Let's bring it back to the beginning. From birth to age 12, I lived in southern West Virginia, all over southern West Virginia, mostly Fayette County, Raleigh County, but all over. From birth to age 12, I was raised in a church. That's where I got my first singing done. West Raleigh Baptist Church and regular Baptist Church on Johnstown Road. And it's where my humble beginnings come from. Okay, so at age 12 is when the big dynamic changed for me in so many different ways. My stepfather got a job in the carpentry field, I do believe it was. So he worked in several fields, plumbing, carpentry, and pipelaying, and some others. But I believe it was carpentry work. He got a job in Sacramento, so we moved to Sacramento at age 12. This is 1989. I get to Sacramento, live in a predominantly Asian and Spanish-speaking neighborhood. Salvadorian gangs, Chinese gangs, Mexican gangs. Very few black folk, very few white folk. I was a really mixed up kid. I was a mixed up 12-year-old. It was difficult for me to make friends. I was what they called lanky and husky, and basically what that was is a precursor to big and tall. So, and also, if you can't tell, I've got a really big nose, and I wore glasses, and it was hard for me to make friends. And as soon as I was getting settled into my new school and into the new home, Do What You Like exploded. It was everywhere. The video was everywhere. You couldn't turn a station on the dial in Sacramento, on the radio dial, and not hear Do What You Like. It was freedom. It was pure joy. And there was this guy, this nasal quality tone, wearing Groucho glasses and just being wall to wall wild energy. And as a 12-year-old, I saw that, and it just, something just, clicked in my mind. And I was like, this is beautiful. I've never seen anything like this. So, me being 12 years old, thick Appalachian accent, in the middle of north side of Sacramento, North Highlands. It was Digital Underground was how I made friends. We all talked about Digital Underground. Imagine this, tables and tables of 8th graders, at lunch, debating. Is Shock G Humpty? Is Humpty Shock G? Are they two different people? Are they the same person? Now, I was pretty astute as a 12-year-old. I knew that they were the same person, but I knew because I looked closely. I saw the clever editing and the height differential sometimes between Shock G and Humpty. And I knew there was some trickery afoot, and I loved it. And I just loved hearing all the other people, giving their takes on why or why not Humpty and Shock were the same person. And it was a mythology that was created. I didn't find out till 2001 until Shock told me himself that Shock's double. Whenever he was Humpty, he would have this person play Shock. Whenever he was Shock, he'd have this person play Humpty. Well, I found out that person was his little brother Kent. And I thought, he told me that in 2001. And I was like, man, that's the coolest thing. It was one of the few things I couldn't pick out, on my own, as to the mythology, who the second player was. But that was his little brother Kent. And that was just the coolest thing ever. Oh man, yeah. And my eighth grade yearbook. This is at Center Junior High, Alberta Road, Sacramento. Our 8th grade yearbook was Humpty Hump themed. I'll be sharing pictures soon whenever I get a hold of my little brother. He has my old yearbooks and my photo albums. But the yearbook, my 8th grade, was Humpty themed. It had Humpty on the cover. On the inside, all the staff and teachers were wearing Humpty glasses, Humpty nose and glasses. And that was the whole theme. Everything was, do what you like, on every page. Learn how you like and read how you like. And do what you like. Be who you like. And it was the greatest thing ever, So that just shows, from age 12, from 89, I lived in Sacramento from 89 to 92, 93. And, I didn't have much growing up. I had a library card and I had, radio in my mom's record collection. But the radio, man, it was a barrage. In that period from 89 to 93, you were hit. Do What You Like, Humpty Dance, Freaks of the Industry, the edit with the bed springs for the, in place of the obscene words. Same song, Tie the Knot. And then, Sons of the P, Bam, No Nose Jobs, Kiss You Back. I was there for that little time period, 89 and 93. And that's how I made friends. I'll say it again. I'll say it a couple times. How I made friends was through the album Sex Packets. Everybody's sitting around listening to it, talking about, oh man, wonder if Sex Packets are real, or maybe they'll be real one day. This is like, Afrofuturism, before, that was really coined as a term or, come into parlance as a regular term. It was, an Afrofuturistic look at the future of sex, And it was a beautiful concept album, Sex Packets. And we bonded over that record. And then the records that come out after it, the EP release and Sons of the P, the 2 Raw Fusion albums, the solo Money B joint, Money B Presents and all that. That's a soundtrack to my youth, So, fast forward from me being in 8th grade, looking up to Shock as the greatest producer, greatest piano man, greatest performance artist, April 11th, 2001, I saw on a local musicians paper, it was like Entertainment Guide, said Digital Underground's coming to Huntington, West Virginia, Marshall University campus, on April 11th, 2001. So I bought like 10, 12 tickets. And I tried to find as many friends that weren't, at work or had responsibilities or whatever else was going on. Ended up being like 7 of us. We went to this show. We had the fucking greatest time of our lives. All of us. There was champagne, confetti, popcorn, everywhere. Everything was so greasy and sticky at the end of the night. People were just sliding around, dancing. Everybody had a damn smile on their face. It was the greatest fucking night ever. Okay, right at the end of the performance, Shock asked, it's like any local MCs want to come up, do a freestyle session. So like, I look around the crowd, like, we're in Huntington, West Virginia. I was born in Beckley. I'm looking around the crowd. All the local MCs are from my hometown, 2 hours away. So Beckley represented in Huntington that night. Represented hard. You had me, you had Tommy Parham, and you had Chris Sticky Dimes Redden. And then there was a Huntington rapper. I think his name was White Devil or something Devil. But we ripped that freestyle session. I was pushed on stage by my friends. I was shy as fuck. I was just happy to be at the show, and my friends pushed me on stage. They're like, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. We're like, we've seen you rap. You've got talent, and it's like, get on stage. That's your biggest hero, your icon. And they pushed me on stage, and we had the greatest freestyle session fucking in my life. And after the show, and after everybody, all my friends, oh damn, we all had a fucking great time. Let's see who else was there. Who came with me? It was me, Chris Redden, John Cheatham, rest in peace, Sam Houston, Jason Bear, like I said, Tommy Parham. And I feel like I'm missing somebody from that scenario. But at the end of the night, after the freestyle session, everybody was dancing, and old Jamie Delp was there too. He fell in a big pile of champagne and confetti and silly string, and it was all over his back. His back was all greasy. But anybody that knows Jamie Delp, he's an insufferable asshole, and he had a good time that night. He's fucking all smiles all night, Well, yeah, after the freestyle session, and it all winds down, everybody's leaving out of the club. Me and Chris Redden walk up to Clee, and we was like, man, we're big fans. He was like, what? He's like, and we started, busting some of his fucking, some of his bars off to him. He's like, man, ain't nobody busted some of my bars off to him before. Only fakers make the mistake of chasing heartbreakers. Word up, Clee. But anyway, point of the fact is, at the end of the night, everybody was, going out the doors, and me and my friend Chris Redden was walking toward the door slowly. And we exchanged our words with Clee, told him what's up, and we was headed out the door, and we hear footsteps running behind us, and it was Shock. Shock was like, yo, I want you and your friends, from your town, freestyle, man, come back to the hotel with us. Please come back to the hotel. We're gonna have a good time tonight. There's a piano in the lobby. He said, give me a little while. I'm gonna go back to the hotel. I'm gonna take a shower. This is about 2:30. He said, come back to the hotel about 3:30. So we dick around town. Me and my buddy. Everybody ends up leaving because of ride issues, and we was 2 hours away from our home, and a couple people got screwed out of going to the after party. But I ended up going to the after party with Jamie Delp, and so between 2:30 and 3:30, we just walk around Huntington, just wasting a little bit of time while Shock took a shower and whatever. So we get the venue was the Empire Club on 4th Avenue, and the after party was at the Old Uptowner on 4th Avenue in Huntington. And we get to the Old Uptowner at 3:30, and there Shock is in the lobby with just a handful of people from the show, maybe 4 or 5 people from the show, and he's on the piano just playing the most beautiful fucking riffs, everything, hip-hop riffs, classical stuff, Tupac samples, fucking Wu-Tang, all kinds of shit. He's just telling stories about Big Pun, George Clinton, Tupac, and all the people he'd worked with and crossed paths with, and just, it was the most beautiful. He played piano in the lobby from 3:30 a.m. till 6 a.m. when the security guards told us we needed to leave. So at 6 a.m., he was like, we're trying to say our goodbyes to Shock. Shock was like, no, y'all come back up to the room with me. Come back to the room with me. So we get up to the room. We go up there. We're riding in the elevator with Shock and Miss West Virginia, whoever Miss West Virginia was at the time. It's a wild story. But we're going up in the elevator, and no, it wasn't Jamie Depp was doing that. No, it was Sam Houston. Me and Sam Houston was in the elevator with Shock and Miss West Virginia, and he was like, yeah, he was talking about George Clinton earlier. He's like, I went to Woodstock and saw George Clinton, and Shock looked at Sam Houston and was like, I was playing keyboards for George Clinton at Woodstock. He's like, that was you, wasn't it? He was like, yeah, it was me. So we get up to the top of the hotel or whatever. We get up the elevator. We get to his room. Bottled water and Coronas for everybody. And he smoked some of the finest green I'd ever smoked. And we just fucking sit back and told stories. And fucking just laughed. And, it must have been damn 10 or 11 a.m. before, we finally said our goodbyes and got out of Shock's room. And, I give him a hug. And he asked me for my email address. And, I didn't think nothing of it. I'm thinking, maybe he'll contact me once. And that'd be cool, man. Just to say, he contacted me, kept up with me. But from 2001 to 2021, for 20 years, he was my email pen pal. For 20 years. For 20 years, Shock. You were my friend via email. And the last couple of years, we went from emails to sending videos back and forth. And I've always had an issue where if I'm talking to an artist who is of a higher caliber, I like to just be quiet and listen. I don't like to ask anybody for anything. I would never could have or would have asked Shock, to work with him, because I thought, number one, he's way out of my league. Number two, I do more acoustic blues-based stuff, and I didn't think that it would mesh or he'd want to mesh, but he sent me a video saying that he wanted to work with me, and he offered to play keys and produce, my next record. This was just a couple months before he passed. It was a super personal video of him offering to produce, and I never thought I was going to share it with anybody, and didn't really want to share it with anybody until, after, I'd gotten the funding and had him produce the record. Then I would have made a big thing about it. But I was so scared, that I'm like, man, I don't know nothing but poor people from Memphis and West Virginia and elsewhere. I don't know if I can get this funded, because he gave me a bargain basement price to do it. Because honestly, Shock knew more about me than my own mother, my little brother, and my ex-wife combined. I mean, that's how much we talked, and he knew about me. And so he gave me a bargain basement price. He knew what I was going through. He knew I'd been struggling, that I went through a divorce, and had been housing insecure, living out of my car and off couches and things. And he gave me this bargain basement price, and I was really scared, and I was getting in the motion to try to figure out how to do a GoFundMe, or one of them things, to fund the album. And then I just got busy with life. I'd been going back and forth to doctors and dealing with interpersonal issues and all kinds of things in my life. And the last couple months before he passed, he didn't message me, and I didn't even think about it because I was just so busy with life, you know, that I hadn't heard from him. And yeah, he wanted to produce my record. What would a Slate Dump album sound like produced by Shock G? You know, and I'm not even mad that didn't come to fruition. I would gladly give up that album just to have Shock G back, man, to have Greg back, my friend back in my life. But having the video where he expressed that he wanted to produce my music, that means everything to me. So I didn't think I'd ever share it with anybody, but I put it up on YouTube. The title of the video is Shock G on Blues and Hip Hop. You can find that on YouTube. What was I saying? Let's see. Other points in life that Shock G was there. My grandfather, Bill Bennett, passed away when I was 17 years old, and my grandmother got remarried in 2002 or 2003 to World War II veteran Rex Agard. Great man. At the wedding reception, they asked me to DJ, and I broke out the turntables and 500 pounds of wax. And first song I play at the wedding reception was Tie the Knot. And everybody had a good laugh, and it was really fun. And to see senior citizens boogie to Digital Underground is something in itself. Since April 22nd, 2021, every night for the past month, Greg's been in my dreams, smiling, and he's there. And he was such an important figure in my life, and it's a difficult story to tell, and a lot of people either don't get it or don't want to get it, or they don't understand. But the reason why, he didn't have to fuck with me, but the whole reason why he did was because I gave the man his flowers while he was alive. I told him what he meant to me. I told him that he was the greatest producer in my mind's eye, and his art and his work behind the keys, Piano Man, his production, his vocal quality is Shock G. All of his characters, his performance art. I told him, I let him know. I was like, "You're the greatest, Shock. You're the greatest." And I would have never asked to work with him because I didn't want to ever be let down. But he offered to work with me. Shock G did not have to fuck with me, man. He didn't. Shock G did not have to fuck with Slate Dump, but he did, and I'm thankful. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. And I want to say thanks and love to Greg Jacobs' family, his friends, Digital Underground, all of his musical co-conspirators all around the world. It's the same song. Love you.